Hey everyone, Mark the Movie Man here. Welcome to the Final Cut. Got an independent crime, thriller, drama, action. Oh, this thing spans many genres. It's a neo-western called Pickens. It's brought to us by Usher Morgan, who wrote and directed this story about Jo Lee Haywood. She is a bar owner in this small town where there's some organized crime going on. In particular, there's a short-tempered crime boss who likes shaking down bars and taking over their ownership. Well, when they come to Jo's bar, Pickens, and try to shake her down to take ownership, well, they realize soon that they messed with the wrong woman who has a deadly past, and we see how these worlds collide and how Jo fights to keep her bar in Pickens. In this post-Sin City and Grindhouse world, a lot of indie films out there pick style over substance. They try to capture that comic book style, but they don't tend to, they do more flashy stuff than what you have for a meat of the story. Luckily, Pickens is a neo-western that has both style and substance in abundance. I enjoyed this film greatly from when it opens with some really great lighting, and we're introduced to the Jo character who has these kind of shoes with spurs. I'm like, that's awesome. And she's also got her brother Boone Pickens with her, and these are really interesting characters, but they didn't feel too over the top. That's what I loved about this film. It does it just enough to give it its own unique style and a breath of fresh air to the indie crime action film genre, without overdoing the comic book style. You get, your freeze panels and stuff, and you get introduced to the characters with kind of the fancy title going on, but it's not overdone, and it's not done completely in your face, and I loved how they approached that. Now, Jo Lee Haywood's played by Elise Price, and I love this character. She could be badass and not lose anything. She was badass, but also she was a great mom, a protective mom, and I loved the layers they gave her character. She wasn't just a badass with this deadly past. She's also trying to keep her family together in the wake of the passing of her husband, and I thought that was great how they balanced it. Now, there are some seriously dark moments in here, and moments that are going to make your mouth drop. It did for me. I'm like, wow, they went there. It wasn't afraid to explore some of the darker places, but at the same time, there's some humor mixed in as well. The Boone Pickens character is played by Joel Bernard, and I loved the interaction between Joel and Elise Price. These two played off each other very well. They felt like people have known each other for a long time. They felt like siblings, if you will. And the Boone Pickens character was great because he didn't, it wasn't like he was more badass than her. There was a good balance between these two characters. Scarlett Lee Haywood is played by Katie Vincent. She's the eldest daughter of the family, and I really liked her interaction with Jo as well. You could feel her being kind of this independent girl who doesn't want, she wants to be her own person, if you will. And at the same time, she's also knows some things about her mom that she's not quite happy about and doesn't exactly want to be like her mom. And so there's a lot of interaction going on between those two. And then there's the villains. I loved how they lit and handled the bad guy, the main crime boss. You never get to see him fully in full light type of thing. You kind of get to see him kind of like a Dr. Claw almost from Inspector Gadget. Not as goofy, but you just kind of see his hands or whatnot. You never quite see fully his face. So I dug that, and he gets a couple of humorous moments and a couple of serious moments. And his right-hand man, the guy who does most of his dirty work, Sam Hollywood Barone, played by Yaron Urbas, they did this great thing with his character, which at first I'm like, oh, wow, that's really shticky, but it worked. It worked within the context of the film, and they didn't overuse it. Plus, it worked its way into the plot later on as we got to the climax of this film, which does have a pretty badass action sequence and shows you just how kick-ass the Jo character is. Folks, Pickens is a neo-western, female-led action drama film that has a high production value, an interesting style, and a refreshingly different take on your comic book style film that we've gotten so much over the years since Sin City. I felt that this was a fresh take on that approach, and I really think you should check it out. It's out for limited release in theaters in these cities, and I'll post it up here as well as give you a link to their website where you can follow further what other cities eventually Pickings will show at. This is one that you got to keep on your radar, folks. I think it's worth your time, especially if you like your dark neo-westerns, you like your indie films with high production value and an interesting style. Pickings has all of that. Usher Morgan, I think, did very well, and I can't wait to see what their next film is going to be. And that'll about do it for us here at The Final Cut. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. Subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, remember, keep that ticket stub.